Matt Biilmann from Netlify. We're a deployment platform, so we help developers build, deploy, and operate websites, web apps, and agents. Help them ship them to production and run them in production with zero operations, and make them fast and accessible to everybody in the world. The roots are all the way back in the early days of Netlify when I coined this term Jamstack, and we built this whole movement around the idea of decoupling the front end of the web from the back end. That was also like part of this whole move of headless CMSs becoming like the main way of publishing content to the web. And because of that, we always had like a big network of CMSs we've been collaborating with and partnering with. And probably this partnership specifically really started taking like the earliest shape like several years ago when Dominic invited me to I think probably Storyblok's first event, a small event in Berlin, where I was giving a talk back then, probably around Jamstack, and got to know Dominic personally. And found that as founders, I think we're very aligned in how we think about the world and the web and what we are building. And then over time, we've spent time together, and that feeling has continued. And I think right now, I'm really enjoying the way Dominic has focused Storyblok around being a headless CMS in a time where I think a lot of the headless CMSs are kind of like broadening out and trying to be like a full DXP platform, and where it kind of becomes hard to then discern like this original value proposition of being great at being a headless content API that developers can build around and that you can architect any experiences around. And Storyblok really stands out as the one like go to their website and clearly understand what they do, right? Like, and as a developer, it's like a very appealing, like, okay, it's the best headless CMS is what their website said, right? Like, and you can actually use it as an API for content to build around. So that also made them a very natural partner. And then we've been focusing on like reducing the friction of actually buying the whole package, right? Like of Netlify and Storyblok, and giving Storyblok like the simple way to bundle in Netlify, sell it together, so you get the headless CMS, but you also get the deployment platform for actually like running your web apps, your agents, your content-based sites on top of that content. And I'm really excited about the partnership and all the stuff we can build on top of that and do together, also with the big launches that Dominic presented here yesterday at JoyConf. When you think about AX, right, like agent experience, it's really a parallel to user experience, developer experience, and it's really about a discipline of understanding that when we are builders and we build products, or we build websites, or we build web apps, or e-commerce, we're now going to have a new kind of user that's not a human, but an autonomous agent trying to do things on behalf of someone on our product, right? Like, and making that experience really seamless and frictionless for the agent starts becoming as important, in some cases more important than the direct user experience of our product, as more and more of our users are accessing our content, our product, our offerings through agents that they direct, right? Like, and of course we're in the very early stages of this, right? I would say it's only at the start of at the end of last year, that LLMs got strong enough at tool use to really be able to manage longer agent loops, right? Like, and we would see in the beginning, like, that you could maybe get like a 2-minute agent loop, and anything above that, the context would start to degrade and so on, right? Like, now we're starting to see examples of like 18-hour agent loops where like a coding agent has like been working on a task for like 18 hours and actually produced something at the end that was useful and not just like completely confused. So we keep seeing like that shift happening towards more and more agentic behavior. And we start seeing like tools like ChatGPT evolve from being a pure synchronous chat platform to start having like real agent capabilities where you can like put it in agent mode and you can interact with it and go get it to do stuff. And with that, we'll see more and more people have agents that they have built skill set in using and that they have a preference for using and that has memory of like their interactions and are kind of like trained on them, right? Like, and the more we see that, the more important and the bigger this distinction between building with agent experience in mind, thinking that users are kind of going to be bringing their own agents to your product versus building agents inside your product. When we think about the products that Storyblok has announced and their whole philosophy around AI inside Storyblok, I think a lot of the other CMSs very quickly jumped towards like, we should put agents inside our product that can write content. And I don't actually think anyone wants that. Like, I've never really seen that as like something that people actually ask for. I wish my CMS could generate more LLM-based content random. Like, it's just like a big like desire for anyone, and I don't think any of us wish for a lot more LLM-generated content in general, right? Like, we want actual like high-quality content. And I think Dominic has really centered around that idea of like, how do we make the CMS help people operate high-quality content and put agents in charge of that. And that means like integrating with tools like NHN. That's not about like writing content, but that's about automating all of the workflows around the content, right? Like all of the stupid stuff we have to do to move from like one process to another and copy paste in the process and so on, right? Like, and that seems really smart. And then Strata in terms of like making the content immediately available for anyone that are then building not just websites, web apps on top of that, but are also building agent-like functionalities on top of that. That's another capability that's really exciting as someone who's also building a platform where we are seeing this shift in like what people are building on our platform, right? Like, and we've also incorporated features like our Gen AI gateway, right? Like, that means that you can now write code and have it instantly talk to OpenAI's models or Anthropic's models and so on, right? Like, and I think combine that with tools like Strata, and you'll see a really powerful combination where like you can work really effectively with the content, you can have AI help with your workflows and orchestration and all of that, and then you can build both like traditional web experiences but also interactive agentic experiences that like understands the same content and can like use models to process it for users and do really interesting things. And I think that's going to be really exciting to collaborate around.